Peace, peace, peace to the family. They shut us down. We was playing music for three
Peace.
and a half hours. They shut us down.
Oh, it's fucked up.
Yeah, so now, we gotta try to figure out who these Moors is. So let me go ahead and let me get the commercial popping and we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. They're here.
All right, we back. We back. So what's up, Sute? Who are the Moors?
Man, the Moors, really, that shit tricky. It depends on which time period that you're talking about. Like if we want to start from the beginning, the Moors were a people in North Africa in the Roman province, the Roman province of Africa. And this is what they were called by the Greeks. The first time we see this word, it's in Greek. I think it's from Strabo. So let me pull up. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Yeah, can you share your screen?
Yep,
Or you need me to do something to it, or you got it?
I should be able to. Hold on. Let's see. Let me get to my page first. All right, we'll start with Wiki. The best place to start. And let's see. Yeah, okay. During the classical period, the Romans interacted with and later conquered parts of Mauritania. Mauritania is North Africa. That Mauritania, that geographical area is shifted within time because it was a kingdom. So just like all kingdoms, they shrink and they expand. Oh, let me see. A state that covered modern northern Morocco, western Algeria, and the Spanish cities of Ceuta and Melilla.
I
The Berber
can't see
tribe.
your screen.
Oh, you can't see?
Hold on, man. Cause I ain't see it. I think I might have to click on you. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Now there we go.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the Berber tribes of the region were noted in the classics, which is okay. Yeah, the classics as Mari, Mauri. Was the Latin? It was the Latin. Martin was the Latin designation for the Berber population of Mauritania. So we got that Mauritania was a classical Roman province, and we got that they called the people there Mari. So that's where that's where you start seeing the first variation of the term Moor. And okay, what was I at? Mari. That was noted as Mari, which was subsequently rendered as Moors in English and related variations in other European languages. Mari is recorded as the native name by Strabo in the 1st century. This appellation was also adopted into Latin, whereas the Greek name for the tribe was Marusi. The Moors were also mentioned by Tacitus as having revolted against the Roman Empire. So they basically they started out as Berbers in the Roman Empire, which was in North Africa. So that's where we began at with the Moors. So yeah, that's where we start.
Okay. Yeah, cause see, I like talking about the Moors of antiquity because I feel like they played a bigger role on than the ones now. You know what I'm saying? They actually went up Iberian Peninsula, took over. You know what I'm saying? They ruled. How long they ruled? Like what, 600-700 years?
Yeah, a few centuries.
Yeah.
700 years.
Yeah, I mean they ruled there longer than we've been oppressed here.
I'm telling you. Yeah, they came with some shit. I'm telling you, yeah, those Spaniards was over there chilling. The Berbers came with them with that when the Arabs came with that Berber art. Yeah, and the Berbers was in the desert too, so they already used to harsh conditions and all that shit. So yeah, they was perfect warriors. It was perfect warriors. Let me see. Hold on. During the Latin Middle Ages, Mari was used to refer to Berbers and Arabs in the coastal regions of northwest Africa. The 16th century scholar Leo Africanus identified Moors as the native Berber inhabitants of the former Roman African province. So Roman Africa, they were Berbers of Roman Africa. He described the Moors as 5 population groups on the continent alongside Egyptians, Abyssinians, Arabs, and Kafir. So actually, I got that book. Let me see if I can pull that out. Who was it? Leo Africanus. Let me see. Where's my Leo Africanus? There it is. Alright.
What you got, Ted?
I got this Leo Africanus work that they mentioned, trying to find in it where he talked about the Moors. Shit, we can pull up exactly what he said. It's a primary. He was there, and he was a Berber himself.
Now, the only thing I see on your screen is the wiki.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hold on. Let me stop sharing for a second. Then find this. I'm supposed to have the shit in my notes. That's why I like these PDFs. I can have digital notes.
Yeah.
Let me see. Hold on.
What you trying to share it on your screen?
Hold on. Let me share. Yeah, let me try to share it real quick. I'm trying to find the page I need. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, hold on. And let me find exactly what he described Moors, because he described two different kinds of Moors. I know the Moors of today don't really like to hear that, but you know, it is what it is. They went around in the 16th century, 15th, 16th century. So I rather trust someone that's more contemporary than somebody that's living in present day. They don't know what they're talking about. Hold on, give me a second. They use the term Moor in here so many times. This it? Yeah, here we go. Okay, what page is that? Page 2. All right. Let's see.
Find the Sute.
Yeah, I got it. I gotta find it on here. Page 20. All right, hold on.
So what was they saying? Peace, boss.
What up, boss? No, you can hop on, man. Yeah, he was this excerpt I'm looking for, he was describing the Moors. He was describing two types of Moors.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Now we get to it. Yeah, here we go. Description of all of Africa. Let's see. All right, here. All right. Inhabitants of Africa. So this is what he's talking about. Moreover, this part of the world is inhabited especially by 5 principal nations, to wit, by the people called Kafri, that is to say, outlaws or lawless, by the Absins, the Egyptians, and the Arabians, and the Africans or Moors, properly so called, which are the last 2 kinds. He said the Moors, properly so called, which of the last, which are the Moors, there are 2 kinds, namely white and tawny Moors, and Negroes or black Moors. So he's making a distinction between white or tawny Moors and then Negro or black Moors. So now we see that Moors is not an ethnicity, it's not a racial group, because he's describing 2 different types, white and tawny. Those are the more Berbers, and then you got your sub-Saharan African ones, which he calling black or Negroes. So boom. Yeah, we see hold on, where I go. Yeah, we see it's definitely not an ethnic group, it's definitely not a racial group, because that would be contradictory to this first-hand account of who the Moors are. And Leo Africanus was a Moor himself. He was a Berber. He was a Berber from North.
Or do it matter?
Huh?
I said, was he black or do it matter?
Nah, he wasn't black. Nah, he wasn't black. The Berbers is like they really like a racial mix of Arabs, Europeans, and a couple more North Africans. Like you got to think about it. Everybody was going through North Africa, so them people up there is a whole mix. They
Sean
mix.
talking about no, it was not. What you talking about, Sean? Sean on here defending the Moors. What?
Nah, he's saying he wasn't black.
Oh. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Sean. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm asking because, like I said, I know a little bit about the Moors. I ain't that good with the Moors. So, we got a little grasp on who the Moors of antiquity are. Now, what about the Moor of modern times? The Moors we see today. What about these Moors? Because these the ones that saying we all Moors, we all descend from Moors, whether you're a Moor, whether you know it or not. Now, what's up with them?
Man, they gone off. Most of them be gone off Noble Drew Ali. The Temple Moors. That's probably what you're talking about.
Yeah, so these are Temple Moors, and they just saying that basically they just going off of Noble Drew Ali and the Circle 7 Quran.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. The Circle 7 Quran, and I think he got one more piece too. Yeah, he should take pull up in our pens. Go from Spears to Pens. The volume 2. That's what you're talking about. Cause I don't know. I don't think I got the. I know I got the physical copy. Trying to see do I got the digital copy.
Yeah, everybody should have the digital.
Let me see. I don't think I downloaded.
Let me see. I might have it.
It's probably in my email.
Let's see. Where would I find that at? Documents. Find the Sute.
Nah, not yet.
Let's see if I can find it.
Let me see. Spears to Pens. Okay, yeah, here you go.
Whose chapter this in?
Sean said it's in his chapter.
What page you be going to, Sean? I think Sean got like 2 different things in this one.
Yeah, I don't see it in my email. Look, and I see the video.
I'm pulling it up now. I'm pulling up the Amazon upload where we uploaded to Amazon. The final draft. It's loading in. Sean touched on this.
Yeah, Africanus.
Yeah, that veggie burger look good.
Yeah. So maybe he knows something that I don't know, because I thought from what I knew, I thought he was a Berber. He say he was a Berber, an Andalusian diplomat, author, best known for his book Description of Africa, centered around the geography of the Maghreb and the Nile Valley.
We're gonna get on Africanus, and I want to touch on something else. I want to find this though.
Yeah, man.
All right, Deshaun, say what page it was. I got it pulled up.
Nah, he said in chapter 8.
Chapter 8. I just want to pull up that specific part. I don't want to be sharing the whole book on the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta go buy that.
That's why I was like, where exactly is it?
All right, okay, yeah, I see you just sent it to me, Sean.
Oh, no, I'm on the first copy. I ain't on the. Is it in the second copy or the first copy?
Nah, the volume 2.
I'm looking at Spirit. I'm looking at volume 1. See,
Yeah, I got that one. I definitely got volume 1. Let me see.
got it, Sutek.
Yeah, let me save it to my Google Drive. Then pull that shit right on up. Okay. Let me see. It's gonna take a second to upload. As soon as we upload, get to it. Said chapter 8, what page? Let me see. Let me go on and be finding the page. While it's doing that.
So Sean got something on Afrikaners. That's what's up.
See how that work?
Oh, Sean peeking in the back door.
Alright, it's almost done uploading. Still looking for the page though. Let me see. Chapter 8. What chapter is this? Whatever chapter this is, this is long.
Probably, boss.
Yeah, it probably is with all these picks. Yeah, yep, this was.
Shout out, Boston.
Alright, okay, yeah, Leo Africanus. What page is this? 174.
You want screen share?
Hold on. Alright, okay, let me share the screen.
Church is about to be real loud here in a second, boss. Trying to pull this up. There you go. You sharing now.
Alright. Let me get to the page. 174. Alright. Al Zayuti or Al Zayati. Never heard of that guy. Let's see. Leo Africanus was born. Oh, okay, that's his birth name. Gotcha. Into a Muslim family of Granada that moved into Fez in the wake of the Christian Reconquista at the age of 17, sometime between 1506 and 1510. He accompanied his uncle on a diplomatic mission to Songhay and he had made another journey a few years later. 1518, on his return from a visit to Egypt, possibly also Istanbul, in a pilgrimage to Mecca, he was captured by Sicilian conciliates, or whatever it is. and subsequently presented to Pope Leo X. Within a year, the Pope had baptized him and given him the name Johannes Leo de Medicinis. Whatever. Sound like Kofi over here. The latter element of which was dropped in favor of the name Africanus. Okay, so he dropped the last name for Africanus. He stayed in Italy and wrote his description of Africa in Arabic, Hebrew, Latin vocabulary, and a treatise on prosody. He also taught Arabic at the University of. Come on, man, they can't be Bologna.
Well,
I guess it's Bologna. It's spelled like Bologna. It is uncertain whether he died in Italy or returned to North Africa.
oh, you talking about Bolognese?
Oh, that's how you say it?
I think that's how they say it. It's actually a food dish. It's a food dish from Italy, from that specific town in Italy, and it's named after that. And it looked like bologna, but I think it looked like it's pronounced like bologna, but I don't think that's it. If it's the word I'm thinking of, but yeah,
I think so. Yeah, so he was okay. Hold on, let me go back. He was born in Granada, moved to Fez. And at 17, he went to Songhay. A few years later, he went on his return from Egypt and the pilgrimage to Mecca. He was kidnapped and taken to Pope Leo X. And in a year, he had been baptized and made a Christian. And he changed his name to Johannes Leo Africanus. Stayed in Italy, wrote his book, Description of Africa, Arabic, Hebrew, Latin vocabulary. And he also taught Arabic. He also taught in the university. Okay. Oh, what so you say he's so hold on. So you say he said that he was Arabic? Maybe I need to keep going. Let me see. This information is important because we have to identify and understand the perspective of Leo Africanus and his influence on scholarship in Africa, but specifically West Africa. He is known for his publication titled The Description, which Hunwick writes he completed in 1526. Was first published in Italian in 1550. It was soon translated into French, Latin, and English. Its principal focus is Mediterranean Africa, but it also contains description of parts of Sahara and West African Sahel. But what I find, I don't want to keep going. Hold on, let me make sure because I don't want to keep going if I don't need to. I want to write a book. Arab all the way born in Africa with his mother. Okay. So he's Arab born in North Africa, and he converted from Islam to Christianity after being kidnapped and taken to the Pope.
all right. Now let's shift gears. So I hear a lot of the Moors, and these are contemporary Moors,
Right.
saying that Hannibal of Carthage was a Moor. What do you say to that?
Well, I mean, shit. If he was we know he was in North Africa. I don't know enough about Hannibal to know if he was a Muslim or not. But if he was a Muslim in North Africa, I mean, it could be said. But I mean, we still got to take into consideration that these people didn't call themselves that. They never called themselves Moors. You won't hear that. You'll be pressed to find that, especially in sub-Saharan West Africa, where they just not doing it. So yeah, I mean, if he was a Muslim, then yeah, he could be considered as a Muslim.
Okay.
But I don't know enough about him to know if he was a Muslim. I know they know.
I don't think he was. So
I don't think so either. I don't know. That's for certain.
yeah, I don't think. I mean, he was up there in that area because Hannibal. He conquered. He was fighting Rome.
Right.
So he was fighting Rome. I forget the general that he was fighting, but to get to Rome, he marched through the Iberian Peninsula to get there. He warred his way through there, basically. You know what I'm saying? The whole route to get there, he was warring with people because Rome had taken over at the time.
Right.
So the Roman general, seeing that he was on his way to sack Rome, and he like, shit, I'm gonna go ahead and hit him at his crib before he get here to mine. And that's how Hannibal ended up losing too. And it's more to the story than that, but like that's just the gist of it is, Hannibal was out and he went and sacked Carthage. So
yeah, I gotta get up on my Hannibal shit.
Yeah, man. I'll put something in the chat. Put a documentary in there. They got a good doc. They got a couple documentaries in there. You ever watch that show For Life 50 Cent put out?
Yeah.
So you know the dude, the main actor that plays the guy in jail.
Yeah.
He plays. Yeah. He plays Hannibal in documentary for the History Channel. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Yeah, it's good, man. They got good visuals on there, good visual art on there, and yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, man. But that Noble Drew Ali shit from the 20s, like it worked for them back then, but it's time to update. It's time to change, bro. Y'all still trying to hang on to this man every word like his law. I mean, and I understand he's the leader. He's the foundation of y'all little organization, but it's nothing wrong with updating the information. That shit comes from the 20s.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie, man. You can watch them old. I know. You can watch them old SETI videos, man. He broke that shit down, dog. About how Noble Drew Ali was he broke the Moors down because he was going at it with Sabir back in the day, and he broke that down, man, and was like, yeah, man, that shit all Turkish shit. He said y'all came in under Islam and all that, so yeah,
it is. It's I mean, it's a lot of shit mixed in there though.
Yeah,
you find Hindu principles in there, higher self and lower self and all that. Yeah, man, you find all that shit in there. And then the plagiarism, that's something, that's a whole nother thing on its own.
Right.
Yeah, he was taking word for word. Word for word, line for line.
Yeah, man. I feel like it's I mean, but the thing for me is like I'm optimistic, so like, and I see the optimism in you too. I ain't saying you ain't, but like I see what for the time that they was in, it wasn't good for black men, and I actually wrote about this. In Volume 1, and I mentioned Noble Drew Ali, I mentioned Marcus Garvey, and things that people was doing in the early turn of the century. So like shit wasn't good for black men at the time. You know what I'm saying? So like it was good that he did that, not plagiarizing all that, but it was good that he started that temple or whatever to organize black people. That's the good side of it. You know what I'm saying? But if people still hanging on to it 200 years later, or not 200 years, but 100 years later, 120 years later, I mean, come on now. We got to update Moors.
Right. That ain't that ain't nothing to Noble Drew Ali. I mean, he did what he did in his time. Shit, Sean said Sean said it didn't work. But yo, he had them organizing skills, bro, because he got everybody together. He got everybody together. Wasn't he doing it before Garvey? Yeah.
They was like around. They started like damn near around the same time because it was like around the same time because Marcus Garvey had went to jail, and I think Noble Ali was trying to get some of the Garveyites to join his shit.
Right, because he was supposedly visit him in jail. MBK say otherwise. I don't know about all that though.
Yeah, because matter of fact, I think Garvey was first because Marcus Garvey had the philosophies and opinion of Marcus Garvey out. I don't know, man. That shit was a while ago, but they both was doing their thing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
On the organization side.
Right, and they both, yeah, exactly. They both had organizations and shit. I mean, I know he was a magician, but a lot of motherfuckers was a magician back then.
Right.
A lot of motherfuckers were magicians back then. Shit, hey, it worked. It was a way to get you some money. Yeah, I ain't mad at the come up. My thing is, y'all still using the shit 100 years later. Like, yo, it's time to get more modern.
Right. And you know what's crazy? Like they be on their shit when it comes to the law, like the modern, the contemporary more. Like they on their shit when it comes to knowing the law. Like, okay, that's cool, but I guess they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't know what it is, but that nationalism shit that they be on, like now y'all bullshit with that now. What you think about that?
You said the nationalism shit they be on?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like you like we do they claim ADOS?
I don't know.
Because I mean, by default, they always saying they from here.
Bro, they be so spread around. Some of them say this, some of them say that, bro. It's a million different more. They got to get more organized.
Yeah, I don't think they ADOS. I think they ABOs. They more on the ABO side. Yeah, they aboriginal to this land. That's what they were saying, bro.
Bro, that's a whole nother. It's a whole nother thing. What I don't get is how they calling themselves Moors if you talking about you indigenous to America. We know where the Moors was at. They went over here. So how you gonna take that name and say you them, but you indigenous to another place? Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know, man. What about let's talk about the feds. Cause you know that's a when you think of Moore, you think of that red hat.
Yep, the new school Moors, the old school Moors weren't wearing it. They was wearing them turbans.
They was wearing the turban.
Yep. But they do make the feds in North Africa, in Morocco, in a town called Fez. I don't know, which one came first, but yeah, I know that's where they started manufacturing them at in North Africa. But the Turks are the ones that made it popular.
Yeah, with what is it? Muhammad Ali.
Yep.
He was one of the older Muslims. Rocking.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you said Muhammad Ali, bro.
I'm talking about not the contemporary. He ain't even contemporary no more. He passed, but not the ancestor that just passed, but the first one.
Yeah, you talking about the Arab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. All in Egypt, fucking shit up, like they do.
Yep.
Rasta said that leads you to Richard Potter. Come on in, Vossa. Break it down.
Yeah, come on, break it down, Vossa. You got the link. Taking pictures.
Magic has Black African history in America that we can speak on. Lots of enslaved women learned ventriloquist skills. They got passed on. Yeah. That I ain't never heard of that, bro. I would love to learn.
What's that? Richard Porter?
Yeah. I don't know if he said. I don't know if he meant Rich Porter or Rich Potter. Richard Potter. He said Richard Potter.
Richard Potter. Okay, that magician.
Oh, that was a magician.
Yeah, magician. Black dude.
Let me look him up. Richard Potter. Yep, magician. Alright, I'm sure my screen. Okay. Yeah, Richard Potter was 1783 to 1835. He was an American magician, hypnotist, and a ventriloquist. He was the first first American-born magician to gain fame in his own country, and is widely considered the first African American celebrity. Nice. Yeah, I never heard of bro.
Yeah, me either. I had looked him up when he said it.
Yeah, hold on, let me see. America's first celebrity.
First celebrity?
African American celebrity, yeah.
That's a tall order.
Yeah.
Tall order there, Vasa.
Alright, let me see. Let me go to, since we waiting on Vasa, I'm gonna go to Drew Ali. See what Wiki got on him. Oh, Timothy Drew. Better known as Noble Drew Ali. Was an American who founded the Moorish Science Temple of America. Considered a prophet by his followers, in 1913 he founded the Canaanite Temple in Newark, New Jersey, before relocating to Chicago, where he gained a following of thousands of converts. Following the murder of a rival Moorish Science Temple leader, Drew Ali was arrested but never charged and sent to jail. He died in 1929, shortly after being released. So, he was what? So, following the murder of a rival Moorish Science Temple leader. Drew Ali a killer?
don't push him.
Oh, Drew Ali a killer. You see, several details of Drew Ali's early life are uncertain, as true information became mixed with that of legend by his devout followers. He is believed to be born Timothy Drew on January 8, 1886 in North Carolina. Sources differ as to his background and upbringing. One reports he was orphaned. He was the orphan son of two slaves born in the Cherokee tribe, while another describes him as the son of John A. Drew Quitman, military and political leader of the Cherokee Nation, and Eliza Turner Quitman, full-blooded Wichita. Oh man.
So the nigga chubby is Derek. Well, what's going on?
We don't know, dude. Cherokee, Black, Timothy Drew Ali. God damn. What's going on with bro?
Who is Noble Drew Ali's master teacher?
I think I think MBK brought that out one time, man. Shit, to be honest, I don't know. So I ain't gonna say. Yeah, I don't know.
What you was gonna go in on something, boss?
Not necessarily. Yeah, I was talking about magic, and I was just saying that there's a long history that doesn't really get discussed with African peoples in magic, quote unquote, what they call, the stage magic in the Americas. And you can find it by studying ventriloquism. And this will take you into the early stages of Spanish slavery, in your Mexico and Southern America regions. You had a lot of slave women who learned how to talk as ventriloquists to hide them getting busted by slave masters so they could speak to each other. So they learned that skill and it just became a big thing. A lot of them became almost celebrity status through this. I think one of the first documented stories goes all the way back to the 1600s. But this leads all the way up to Richard Porter. So I was just throwing that out there, playing with that magic aspect.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said I never thought about that, to where slaves was, using the art of ventriloquist to mask what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's neat there. I ain't even never think about that. Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that gets played with, especially in the mind back then, because now you're able to do those divine interventions and speak to people and all that, spectacle stuff. But yeah, these things happened, and it was a skill that led up to. I think somebody put the first black celebrity, but you can argue that Richard Porter was one of the first celebrities, period, in the Americas. Just period. So we do have wonderful stories to all. I know y'all beating up the Moors right now. Once again, this just shows we do have beautiful black stories we could tell without making stories up.
Exactly. We sure the fuck do.
Honestly, we got too many good stories when we look back. That's just my perspective on it, though.
Yeah, you're right. It ain't no reason to romanticize nothing. We got enough actual history to be able to be honest and not romanticize.
Yep. And I think that's a part of the pollution we went through is that I think that's one of the heaviest stones we still haven't removed is our historical identification and the things we've done. I think a lot of us are blinded to it and they just start right at slavery and don't go no further than that narrative. But the truth is, we got a beautiful ass story.
Right, because like before I started studying Kemet, like you said in the school, all you know is about slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't teach you nothing. You may know a little bit, but for the most part, man, they talking about that. They talking about the Jewish slavery. They just let you know that Holocaust, that shit be a week long. But like Black History, they don't really like Black History Month in school. It would be a little bit of it, but it wouldn't be enough though. You know what I'm saying, to really catch on. Like major tests with that information on there. You know what I'm saying?
The school I've seen in Oklahoma personally that did the most for Black History Month, like they put up information that you typically don't see. They were sharing more information than you typically see. This actually happened at a special needs school. It was a special needs school that gave more emphasis on Black History Month than any other public institution I've seen here. And that shit blew my mind. Like, wow, this don't make no sense that y'all can do this, but the regular schools can't.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind because they went beyond the normal narrative. Y'all know the get down. We get Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks.
That's
Every
what I'm saying. Like it's always the usual suspects. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they don't teach you about what happened prior to slavery, man. They tell you about the shit that's happened. Martin Luther, like you said, Martin Luther King. They ain't gonna say nothing about no Malcolm X. They ain't gonna say that, but yeah, they'll tell you about certain inventors over here. You know, they shed a little light on some, but it's only during Black History Month. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not throughout the year. I took an African. They actually added an African history class to my high school, and it was by a Black dude. I'm gonna say his name. Shout out Mr. Moore. He actually graduated from that high school. You know what I'm saying? He came back and started that curriculum, that course. You know what I'm saying? And you can add it to your classes and get a credit for it or whatever. And you know, he was coming to people's classes and telling them to sign up for it and all that. Like now that I forgot about that. Now that I look back on that, Mr. Moore was doing some epic shit. Like he was really, you know, like yeah, that's what's up, man. I just went down memory lane for a second. But yeah, so we had one course, and it was, I think I was going into my senior year when that course became available. I don't know what became of it, but yeah, I actually did take that, and it was I think it was like 15 weeks, I think. But yeah, they don't really got they don't teach you nothing about no Egypt and grade school. You know, they may brush over it, but they not telling you who them people is and what they done did and how they done contributed to the world.
Right.
But you know what's crazy is before segregation, and this is just in Oklahoma alone that you can find things like this. This isn't even doing the entire United States nation. In Oklahoma territory alone, before segregation ended, Black high school students would graduate with trades and the ability to speak up to 3 languages. And this goes all the way back to what was the law? The literacy test on voting. During that time, it was normal to see us speaking your 3 quote unquote primary languages: Greek, Latin, and English. I don't know what's going on now when it comes to education.
Well, see,
I had a college professor teaching U.S. government stand before the class and tell the entire class, is the white lady teaching white students, that Malcolm X was a gangbanger who got mad and started the Black Panther Party.
what?
Yeah.
Now, see, my college is different. I went to a HBCU, so I went to Central State. So when I took history, when you take history in all Black college, nigga, they talking about African history. So I got introduced to Egypt then, and I remember one of the tests, like we would go over it, you know what I'm saying? And on one of the tests, it was like common, well, it was something like, the question was like common myths about pyramids or something. And the answers on there would be like, you know, people say aliens built them, people say this, people say that, but they don't attribute it to the African people there. So like when I was taking history in college, it was a different story. Like I definitely was exposed to that. Like our buildings was named after people, like the Roberson building, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't remember all the building names, but like some of them buildings was named after. We even had one, Bill Cosby donated like a lot of money to the communications department there, so they had their own little building. It was called the Cosby. Bill Cosby donated a lump sum of money there. It was before I got there, but it was a new facility though. You know what I'm saying? It was a new building, and yeah, one of my homeboys, he took communication, so I was actually able to go in there one day. You know, when wasn't nobody in there, just check it out. But yeah, man, when you go to all Black college, it's different.
You know what's crazy about those HBCUs? I think that's our avenue to get a lot of the things we argue for now. You know, you see an increase in us arguing we want land and agriculture skills again. but majority of your HBCUs, if you look at them, they was designed specifically for that, for us to get agricultural skills. You got to study the what is it? I think the Morrill Act, Morrill, and that allowed these institutions to be built for agricultural purposes. I think that's something we should explore as well.
Yeah.
There's more. There's more.
Christian roots run deep in that them HBCUs too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Big part of the foundation of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Zane said they had him writing hieroglyphics with symbols like alphabets.
Yeah, man.
They teach
definitely.
in middle school.
It definitely steer you down the wrong path. Like I knew when I needed to learn the language, I knew I had to find. I got lucky for real, but I knew I needed to find somebody who actually knew it, but they had to be black. I was biased with that. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, nah, I need some. It could have been the wrong person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but they had to be black. Like I used to watch. I actually an old Asar video I watched. And I had Mfudishi, and then I stumbled up on Joe. I actually talked to Mfudishi on the phone a long time ago because his number was, I was watching Sinetta and his number was on there. I was like, man, let me call him because I was really like trying to figure this out. I'm like, man, I need to, like, what books I need to read? Like, no. But yeah, that's when he said Rickety Amen. So then, you know, I was like, okay.
Yeah, Sister Rickety been putting in that work.
Yeah, you hear that name? Anybody come out of that stock, you good.
Right.
You good. But yeah, man, we need to get back over to these Moors, though, man, because we ain't letting them off the hook tonight.
Let's get to it.
We ain't letting them off the hook tonight. I just like, and we ain't got no beef. I ain't got no beef with any of it, but I'm just saying, like, the Moors of antiquity, they is not the same Moors that are of contemporary. Like their ideologies are different, I believe. Like because the contemporary Moor, they saying Easter Island. Them people, the heads over there in Easter Island, those are Moors. Come on, man. Y'all know where Easter Island at?
Where is it? In America?
Nah, no. It's off the coast of South America. It's like way out there, bro.
Yeah, it's
like
out there.
Yeah, in America.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, not North, not our America.
Right. Yeah, man. Like,
yeah, they go back to you. Them saying they indigenous to North America. Like some of them use that. Some of them use Mu, the lost land of Mu. Some of them use Atlantis. Like they be all over the place. Tell me.
Yeah, the hell is Mu? Like that's not no land that we can actually dig up. They talking about that shit is got sunk in under the ocean. So how you gonna tell me about some shit that sunk in under the ocean and say that's where everything started?
All right, how you know that?
That's what I'm like, bro. Come on, man. You talking about some shit up under the water? Like that's that. If when you do that, that just leaves shit open to interpretation.
Y'all see like, Tupac when he said that, Sutek, when he was like, nigga, who told you? Who told you? All right, get him. Make him pop these locks and then I'll believe that shit. Make him get me out of jail. Then I'll believe all those movements. But he was talking
we got a question up on the board. I pinned it up there. Y'all can see it from Brother Zane. Where Moors get Aksum Empire from?
Isn't that Ethiopia's first name?
Yeah, that is actually they can attach land to that.
But that's mixing the East Coast and the West Coast of Africa. So you would have a hard time proving that connection.
I'm just saying. That's
not us. Yeah, not us. They would have a hard time making that connection, saying that they nation state would have been that vast of a land spread from the east coast to the west coast of Africa. They would have to prove that they was over there in Ethiopia. You would see remains of that. And I've never seen nothing like that.
They kind of improved. They was in North Africa, bro. Because we know where that transatlantic slave trade took them people from.
Right.
They can't prove that. They can't even prove they was in North Africa, let alone East Africa.
Yeah, and then we leave out, for example, at once upon a time, you could just say that whole northern tip of Africa was part of the Roman Empire.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, we talked about that in the beginning. Yep.
Yeah, I said that. That's what I was telling him about Hannibal when they was trying to say he was a Moor, and then he went up there. He went up there to actually try to conquer Rome, and they were saying he was a Moor.
Yeah, banging it out with what's his name, Scipio.
Scipio, yeah, that was his name. But yeah, I see what Zane's saying. So I know they like to say America is really North Africa, and this is Egypt over here. Have y'all heard any more say that?
Yeah, and that Mississippi is really the Nile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, then we got a Grand Canyon Egyptian artifacts and shit next.
Man, you know what's crazy, bro? All this shit come from them History Channel shows. I watch the History Channel. It's this show called America Unearthed or some shit like that. Cause I watched it. I'm on here. I'm like, okay, this is where they be getting this shit from. So I'm on there watching it, and like, I'm like, bro, like they wouldn't even let dude in there. Like they wouldn't even let dude in there, but they hyping it up. Like they couldn't even fly over certain parts of it. And he contacted somebody who quote unquote say they said it, but then so I'm just like, man, listen, this is where they get all this pseudo information from. They getting it from the History Channel.
What you talking about? The Grand Canyon Egyptian connection?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that stuff is wild. And then I hate how they'll do stuff like that. How you're talking, how they wouldn't give people clearance to certain region. I hate how they use that to play on people's ignorance, because they probably leave out that they wouldn't give you clearance to specific areas because of the dangers involved. You know what I mean? You can't be out there by yourself in the middle of a damn canyon messing around and you don't know what you're doing and get your ass killed. And then that falls on someone else, and then they wind up getting sued.
Yeah, because they rented a helicopter, and the lady was flying a helicopter, and he was trying to get her to go in a certain area, and she was like, "Nah, that's a no-fly zone over there. Like we can't fly over there." And then they made that hype. But yeah, man, that's where a lot of these new age contemporary people are getting all this information from. They watching Ancient Aliens, they watching America Unearthed, whatever that show is, and they watching the one dude too. He was trying to say that I think it's like Destination Truth. It's a show called Destination Truth. That show right there, man. Dude, pseudo is all get out, man. I'm telling you, bro. Look them shows up.
I'm not seeing what is it? Ancient Aliens.
Yeah,
that made me stop watching the History Channel. I'm like, bro, really? Y'all supposed to be the History Channel. Y'all know this shit pseudo. Why is y'all putting it up here, bro?
Yeah.
Y'all know this shit pseudo. Now you got a whole bunch of people that don't know no better, thinking that aliens built pyramids. Like, come on, bro.
Right. But see, the thing is though, like the History Channel, they got good shit. It just don't be on regular TV. Like, they be having like little stuff that'll stream on they little channel or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
That's how they old stuff. History Channel used to be a dope channel.
It used to be, yeah.
They start clout chasing.
Yeah.
They start clout chasing. Yep.
Because if you notice, when you watching the History Channel, it'll be like it'll be Ancient Alien on. It'll be on all damn day.
All day, back to back to back.
Yeah, it's like, damn, where the new shit at? They may play one new episode because I watched Top Shot on there too. Like they got a show called Top Shot where these marksmen on there, they be shooting guns and all type of shit. I like that, but
There you go. That was about to be my next statement. When it comes to white people and the way they spread history and the way they teach it, they don't go and do like what we're seeing and stay in a religious history. If you really want to learn history through their lens, is the story of war.
yeah.
It's all war history. I mean, that's why, like, for example, the History Channel, their best films are going to be stuff like World War II, the history of World War One, the history of this war, the history of that war.
Yeah.
That's where they're going to give you your solid information. But
That's what you're going to get it at.
everything else is going to be entertainment.
And like, I don't know if you was listening, Vasa, but I was referring Sutek to watch the History Channel on Hannibal because they actually, because you know a lot of Europeans say Hannibal was white.
Yeah,
they're actually depicting as black on the History Channel, and it's a little cinematography.
yeah.
That's what it's called, but you know it's pretty good, man. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
The battle is still talked about because of their war tactics. Him and Scipio, you know, the way they attacked and their style of fighting. And Hannibal being, you know, he's always going to be talked about because he's one of the key figures who said, we're going to bring it to Rome's front door. Instead of them bringing it to us, we're going to come to them. He should have just never took his ass to Zombi.
Mm-hmm. It's called Barbarian Rising.
How they depict people, bro? How any of y'all seen the Gods of Egypt movie?
Yeah, I watched it.
Man, that shit was terrible.
And you want to know what's crazy? A lot of people ain't noticed, but y'all know who they had playing Jehudi in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Chadwick.
Yeah, Chadwick.
Yup. Like, didn't nobody really say that, you know, because there really not a lot of black people watch that movie.
I don't know the name of the movie, but his dopest film to me was when he was that guy from Africa and he came over to the States to get the people who was messing with his family.
That's a new.
Man, that movie was dope. He was going off on that.
Yeah, I still got to watch that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's called. Is it? You talking about 21 Bridges? Is that it?
No, it's got something to do. Like it's got King in the title.
Yeah, I be seeing that on Netflix too. I gotta watch our bro movies again.
Yeah, it's gonna be creepy watching that Spike Lee movie again. When he was a soldier and he died. Yeah, it's gonna be creepy if I ever watch that again.
Yeah, I don't think I will.
I watched part of it. I ain't seen it all the way through though.
I didn't know Spike Lee joined to the end. I was wondering why I liked you know Spike got his own little style. I was liking how they snuck those little Black history moments in the film. I was like, man, hold on, wait a minute, where are they going with this? I liked that, but now with him passing, it's gonna be tough to watch that for me. Like, damn, you know what I mean?
Right. It's crazy that dude had as much impact as he did too. People love that dude, bro.
Man, he has some major roles, man. Think about it. I didn't even watch the James Brown movie. I didn't even know he did that in 2013.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't even watch that.
He killed James.
Y'all watch 42? The James Brown. I mean, the Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, I didn't even think I was gonna like that, but it was good.
Because I know the story. I'm like, man, I ain't trying to see that, but I ended up watching it.
Right.
I had to watch it. They filmed a little part in my
So to tell you know the story about Jackie on the bus pulling that thing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pulled that thing out.
Yeah. Jackie didn't play he was a no BS at all. He didn't play that black versus white stuff at all. At all. Hot tempered, all that. He didn't even want to play baseball.
Yeah, he said, don't push me. Ain't no
Yeah,
killer.
that was really like.
If I got the story right, and Sutek, you'll have to forgive me, but I think the story is he comes back from war, he's in his uniform, and he gets on the bus, and the driver tells him he can't ride, so he pulls his pistol out on him. Yeah, that's it, Zane. Message from the King.
Yeah, he wasn't going. Yeah, Message from the King. Yeah. I be seeing that on Netflix too. I gotta watch that.
Yeah, I ain't see that one either.
I gotta watch that, and I still gotta watch The Boy Who Harnessed Wind. I still gotta watch that.
Like that.
You say you haven't seen?
I watched.
Yeah, man. They said that was good. They said that was a good one. All right, hold on, man. You gotta get back to these more.
Yeah, man. I pretty much asked what I was gonna ask. I mean,
let me see. I'm gonna play this a little bit of this video real quick, man. Let me share my screen. Boy Sharif and Garfield. I want you to see what dude pulled. He pulled the fast one.
Hey,
trying to be.
I got a curiosity.
Are you ready?
No, he's playing.
Go ahead.
Play your video first.
Now go ahead while I find it.
Okay. I have a question with the Moors and Islam being kind of similar in things they believe in. Have you seen a history of eunuchs in Moorish history? Did they have a practice of that, of making brothers eunuchs? Because I don't see why anybody would want to adhere to that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
From our like, why would you want to subscribe yourself to that? That means your grandpa couldn't even have kids. So how the hell you get here?
Yep. So a lot of the guards, a lot of the servants and slaves and people that was in positions like those, they would get what you call it?
What they say on booty call, they're gonna chop your balls off.
Yeah, they castrate you, bro. They don't make sure you ain't doing nothing to their women.
Yeah.
I ain't playing.
Not necessarily for women is why do you really want that? You can't breed. You know what I mean? You can't grow. I can clip your kingdom and expand mine.
Yeah,
they did the same thing in feudal Europe. The landlords, when you get married, they would lay with your wife, hoping to get her pregnant to mess with your head. Because now if she's pregnant, she can't go nowhere. She has to stay here and work. You're not gonna love her or the baby because you're gonna always wonder if that's your child or not. Type of mental warfare as they play.
All right, let's get this video.
All right.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, first I'm going to say I'm thankful for the opportunity. It's been a minute, right? It's been a minute. What I first like to say to my opponent, my good brother, that saying where we are from is not the same as saying who we are. Let's start with that. All right. The topic is basically the true origin of the so-called African American, not the point of location he came from. The two different things. All right, well, let's get to it. A couple things I want to deal with first. Brother said we don't know much about DNA. I don't know much about DNA. So let's see if I can share this. But this is to address the brother's position on all of us coming here via slave ship. Can everybody see my screen? Not yet. Can you you see the screen? Yes, no, yes.
1 second, bro. Yeah, I can see.
Yep. All right. This is a DNA study done by Dr. Clyde Winters, published in 2015. And it's the HLA-B35 in Mexican, Amerindians, and African populations. Here's the abstract. Spanish found numerous black communities in Mexico when they reached America in 1492. In addition, archaeologists found skeletons of sub-Saharan Africans at many ancient Mexican sites. Ancient, that is. The existence of the HLA-B35 among SSA and Mongoloid Native Americans occurred in high frequencies. This suggests that this pattern of shared HLA among these populations is the result of ancient pre-Columbian contact and not the Atlantic slave trade. That lays that to rest. All right. You're not sharing anymore? All right. Next thing I'm bringing up. Can you all hear me?
Yo, I'm gonna say, man, dude just used Clyde Winters. That's one of the most terrible sources to cite. I know we be wanting to cite dude because he's a black man and he's supposedly got his doctorate, I guess. But yeah, dude, terrible. I used to hear Garfield all the time say he sourced himself. And then I actually went to one of his articles one day, and like, bro, he literally sources himself with these genetics, these DNA, the DNA data. He used himself as his source. So how is we supposed to trust you? I don't trust nothing. I swear to God, bro, I don't trust nothing you say. Nothing. That's the most terrible source you can use.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bear with me. One of the issues that we're dealing with here, especially with my brother's presentation, sadly and unfortunately, is we're dealing with victims of European psychology. In other words, when someone else describes or circumscribes your scope of thinking, you can't see outside the box. So, let me share this. Please stand by. Screen share. All right. Can you see this? Can you see the slide?
No, we can't see it.
Can't see it? Hold tight. Make sure I'm sharing. Oh, hold on. There we go. Can you see the slide?
Yep. See it.
Y'all remember this, right? Remember. Charles Seligman, this guy right here is one of Reggie's bosses, unfortunately, and sadly, according to the words of my brother, Garfield Reed, is his boss too. Charles Seligman is one of the major European Orientalists responsible for the idea that all of us in America came from a small area in West Africa, or just confined to West Africans, or confined to sub-Saharan Africans. He came up with that. He forwarded what's called the Hamitic hypothesis, which basically was the Europeans' way of trying to explain how the people that they branded as savage and incapable of civilization built civilizations and built cultures and built monuments and etc. that they still can't do today. And the way to do that is to separate those people from the accomplishments themselves. So what they did is they basically said that the people of North Africa, in other words, the Semitic people, Afro-Asiatic people, which include the Berbers, were white. The terms they used are pastoral Caucasians or pastoral Europeans or dark-skinned Caucasians or Euro-Africans. You know, same thing they do today. You know, as a matter of fact, this very same ideal of the Hamitic hypothesis is what we see today in American bureaucracy and American recordings on race. via federal directive citizen. Let's go. So I'm going somewhere with a number of these things. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Dr. Chancellor Williams, who, by the way, is an opponent of Islam, says on page 207 of the Destruction of Black Civilization, in the third paragraph, it's on the screen, but I'll read it. Now again, just who were the Moors? The answer is very easy. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were Black Africans. As amalgamation became more and more widespread, only the Berbers, Arabs, and coloreds in the Moroccan territories were called Moors, while the darkest and black-skinned Africans were called Black Moors. Eventually, Black was dropped from Black Moor. In North Africa, and Morocco in particular, all Muslim Arabs.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject.
All right, man. So he using Chancellor Williams, but that's kind of what do you call it? It's a logical fallacy. He's damn, I can't remember the logical fallacy, but just because Chancellor Williams is saying this, but that don't make it accurate. You got to get down to the methodology. You got to show first-hand accounts, primary documentation, and he showed none of that. So I mean, you know, I fuck with Chancellor Williams, but just because he says something don't mean it's correct.
Already regarded as Moors. The African blacks, having had even this name taken from them, must contend for recognition as Moors. So even this man, even though he said a number of things that are along the lines of the Orientalists like Stuffman and the like regarding the Berbers, he still says that the Moors is the title, or the term Moor is a title that belongs to us. Now, our sister Dana Marnici clears the whole matter up. In her paper, The Denigrification of Berbers and Canaanites, I'm going to read from the last paragraph on this slide. Anthropological race theories of darker black Caucasoid types. That's what I just mentioned. That's an invention of European Orientalists, dark Caucasoids, which they called Euro-Africans or Mediterraneans or Hamites, Semites, etc. Colonial conceptions of the Negro. Colonial conceptions, which means isolating them to only sub-Saharan Africa. And modern political constructs of blackness in Europe, and of the Abid or slave in the Near East, play a significant role in ethno-historic interpretations of the origins of early North African Berber or Arabic speakers. The neglect in contemporary historiography of the biological impact of documented movements of various northern groups over the last several centuries into North Africa and the same latitudes in Asia, including white slave trade, has had deleterious influence on early African historical study. It is a second primary factor contributing to the current theoretical constructs that dismiss the predominant role of populations of Black Africans and Afro-Arabian affiliation in the ethnic groups first designated Maori, which is the true origin of the word Moor, Berber, and Arab. What does that mean? Well, let me show everybody. That's what it means. What you're looking at the top two pictures are true Arabs. True Arabs. See, the brother says that we came from West Africa or specifically Ghana. Not to be petty, but Ghana didn't exist as a nation state until after 1883 with the Berlin Conference. Europeans created the borders that we now call Ghana. What we have here is original Arabs, Arabians, original Arabs versus Arabized Arabians. If you avail yourself of the book, The Unknown Arabs by Dr. Tariq Berry, clear definitive proof of the dark complexion of the original Arabs and the Arab origin of the so-called African Americans. As a matter of fact, our brother kind of helped us out when he mentioned that
So y'all see how he pulled the color game. Like these are the original Arabs, and these not.
Yeah,
So
man.
they like.
Nice try, Sharif Bey.
Look, I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna hold that right there for a second. I'm gonna show this skin color map so people can understand, like, why you can have light skinned Arabs and darker skinned Arabs in the same, and they both be Arab. You know what I mean? Just because one is a certain color and the other one is a different color doesn't mean that, you know, that one is original and one isn't, or one is indigenous and one isn't. You get that skin color, which is U-melanin. You got your black U-melanin and your brown U-melanin. You get that U-melanin from being an indigenous population that is closer to the equator. So the closer to the equator that indigenous populations are, the darker they will be. You know what I'm saying? So like you see the equator running along the middle of Africa right here. This is why sub-Saharan Africans are so dark. And this is why you can get such lighter North Africans. You see over here on the Arabian plate, you got multiple different colors of Arabs. You got your Tani up here, and you got your indigenous populations to the south that will be more darker skinned. That's closer over here by Ethiopia. So yeah, you can have light skin, dark skin. He kind of playing the color game, bro. That don't work. That don't work in science. So just because you have some lighter ones, that don't mean shit. They could have came from more north on the Arabian plate. I just wanted to show that, bro.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, you can't trick us, dog. So I said, nice try, Sharif Bey. Better go back in the karate room with that bullshit. Call Buddy.
Call old boy.
Right. Maybe call Buddy on you, Sharif.
Yeah, man, let me get back. Let me get back here.
Second. When he mentioned West African origins, that was actually a benefit. I'm going to show you why. This was a speech. Can everybody see this? Can you see this? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Is everyone there?
Tweaking, man.
Yeah, we can see it. Okay, good. That's what I want to hear. All right. I'll read it. Your forefathers were Arabs from Yemen who settled here over 5,000 years ago. The Arabs arrived in Africa, settled in Africa, and gave the name of Jana to what is today called Ghana. Jana, an Arabic word, means a small paradise. The Arabs gave all the names from here when they reached the Atlantic Ocean. Let me repeat that. The Arabs gave all the names you hear when they reached the Atlantic Ocean. Your origins are Arab, and so are your kith and kin. You are the Yemeni tribe residing now on the equator. The Hausa tribe is the Hausa tribe you find in Libya, in Niger, and in Nigeria. The Hausa language is an ancient Arabic language, as is Swahili. The Fulani is an Arab tribe, and so is the Yoruba, or Yoruba, meaning Arabism, and the Tuareg. all the tribes inhabiting the Sahara, from the south of the Arabian Peninsula to the Atlantic, are
Yeah, man, hold on. So he tried to play that Arabs came into Africa and founded Ghana. Right, so hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, that dude Pseudo who said that.
Yeah, that's dude crazy, bro.
Man, that's a Moor?
That's some more.
Wow. Y'all Moors got to take that L on that one.
Yeah, that's some more. Hold on, let me see. Alright, okay. Let me share this. This is from. Let me go back up. The source. Still loading a little bit right now, but this is Ancient Ghana and Mali by Nehemiah Lepzian. If y'all know anything about Islam and Africa, then you got to go through. This is one of the people that you got to go through. So he's one of the top scholars when dealing with this information about West Africa and Islam and Africa in general. Okay. He says the name Ghana, the land of gold, was first mentioned by Arab geographer Al-Fazari towards the end of the 8th century. By then, the kingdom of Ghana had been flourishing for some time, perhaps some centuries, though the date of its foundation cannot be fixed with any certainty. But the first time we see this name being mentioned is by an Arab. So I'm assuming maybe that's why he said that. Oh, no. I know exactly why he said that. I know exactly why he said that. So, okay, I ain't even gonna I say that source for later. But basically what they did in the histories was try to rewrite some shit to try to make themselves more closer to Arab culture or Islamic culture, because that's what gets you the trade routes. You know what I mean? You gotta be a Muslim to take part in the trade routes, and the more closer you are to Arab descent, the more respect you will get treated with in the culture. Right, so a lot of these people, even in the Tariqs, the West African Chronicles, you'll see some people being rewritten as Berbers, and we know they weren't Berbers. This is because that status of Berber at that period of time in that particular place came with a certain status. Just like the same, basically the same thing they was doing in the 20s with Noble Drew Ali, him saying that he was a Canaanite or Arabian or whatever they was talking about. So you get better treatment if you wasn't black. If you were closer to an Arab, you get better treatment in that Islamic culture, and that's obvious. You know what I'm saying? And if you wasn't a Muslim, you couldn't participate in the slave trade at all. So that's just how they got down. So I'm gonna go back to the video. Keep going, bro. Almost done.
Yeah, play that. I'm gonna play something after that.
Yeah, dude. He almost done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that little piece out.
Arab, and that is why they wish to annihilate these people. The war team waged that president not only a crusade, but also a racist effort.
I gotta meet you, brother. Time. Hold that thought. Now I gotta compensate For my brother Garfield.
Yeah, I stopped there. I just wanted to hear Sharif part. Garfield wasn't ready. He wasn't ready that night. You go ahead and play. Yeah, he didn't want to smoke that night. Yeah. Let's see what you got.
All right. Let's see where I'm at. Right here. All right, y'all see it?
Yep.
That this was the new world in terms of Europeans being the first to settle among the indigenous peoples or Native Americans here, and that prior to Columbus, there were no other settlements or trading arrangements or peoples coming in from Africa or Asia, right? So that clearly is something that is problematic when someone talks about the history of the Americas and they say the New World. So Columbus discovered America. No, Columbus didn't discover America. Columbus was responsible for opening up the Americas to permanent settlements coming primarily from Europe. But Africans had always been going back and forth. I'd even say, just to be clear, Native Americans were also going to Africa.
Now, what y'all think about that?
Yeah, man. Oh, shit. There ain't no basis. There ain't no basis for that claim. I don't know if he going back with what's his brother name? Ivan Van Sertima.
And I think they like to pull from there.
Yeah, it's either that, Ivan Van Sertima, or Leo Weiner, because Leo Weiner was who Van Sertima was using a lot of the time.
Let's see what else he say.
And other parts of the East. So this international exchange of people and goods was occurring long before Columbus. The newness argument was largely put out, again, in the interest of Eurocentric hegemony to create a false narrative that serves to justify this idea that Europeans discovered the Americas and therefore had some greater right to its domination.
Now, see that part right there, I agree with. What you think?
Yeah, facts. I'm on that. Christopher Columbus not discovering America. Yeah, we are on that point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like some of the stuff they be saying be pseudo, but then they'll have some stuff I could align with. But you know,
right.
As far as all that sell everybody going back and forth, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a stretch, man.
We ain't got no basis for it though. Shit, we would have to see the technology of big ship making over in the Americas. We don't see that.
Right.
So there's no way they could be going back and forth. We don't see that in West Africa either. Like not no ships that's able to sail to no Americas. Nah, we definitely don't see that. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know where you get.
Let's see what else he said.
When I look at people like Ivan Van Sertima, the late great Ivan Van Sertima, and they came before Columbus, who of course outlined the connections between the Olmec people and ancient Kemet or Nubia. I should say ancient Kemet and Nubia. When he talked about these exchanges occurring all the way back to some 3,000 years ago. 3,000 plus years ago. And when he starts talking about this in the 1970s, there are others who are also making similar arguments. Barry Fell, who was a Harvard professor who wrote Saga America and America BC, also a PhD, also dedicated. In fact, I think his original area of study was zoology or invertebrate zoology, but he became fascinated as a scientist by all this evidence, these clear indications of a pre-Columbian ancient link between Africa and the Americas. Even the Smithsonian sent people to do expeditions. Matthew Sterling had gone in and found what he called Negroid heads. And all anybody has to do is to look at the Olmec heads and see that these are quote unquote Negroid or Africoid in appearance. But let me also say something about how insidious Eurocentric hegemony or so-called white supremacy is. Mexican scholars, Mexican laypersons as well, the average person, knew that these giant Olmec heads were throughout different parts of Mexico, Tres Zapotes and La Venta, and other areas. They looked at these heads and said they look like, quote unquote, negros or Africanos to us. What European anthropologists did was claim that these heads were stylized baby jaguar faces, or they were infantile stylizations to try to negate the fact that here's evidence of this pre-Columbian presence of Africans in the Americas. And Cyrus Gordon, who was also another scholar of Mesoamerica, right? Pre-Columbian Americas. And Cyrus Gordon, who basically looked at different artifacts and said there's clear evidence that there was exchange between Africans and Native Americans and Asians and Native Americans long before Columbus ever arrived.
You see that? So he basically saying Ivan Van Slynderen saying it on the African side, and then the scholar that he just named on the Mexican side are both saying the same thing, that these nations traded for.
Right. Yeah, man.
You know, a big problem with that, Stu-Tech, Mr. Tech, that specific area that they talking about with this Olmec stuff that could have hurt Ivan. I don't attack him like most do, but most don't study what happened to us here. That area that what they're talking about, where you see this long history of African people and cultures being there, is more than likely attributed to Gaspar Yanga creating the first free black settlement in the Americas. This is roughly 1560, 1570. So you got a free black settlement right there in the heart of where these Olmec heads is found, going back to 1570. So just imagine how much culture is going to be placed there, how many skeletal remains you're going to find there, and how many people are going to say, my family has been there over the past 400 years of human living. Then yeah, that's going to seem like forever to that small group, if y'all get where I'm going, in that light. I think those things get left out the table or swept underneath the rug when people start creating this broader world story. And you can't do that. You know, for example, they'll leave out what a lot of academics will say, that it's possible that I don't want to say trade, but intercontinental traveling was taking place, but it just wouldn't have took place the way we do it. The technology just wasn't there. They can argue that one of those long canoes would have got on, an ocean current and could have sailed into the Americas. but you know the plausibility and the safety of it is slim
Yeah,
to none. You get
yeah,
where I'm going?
the risk don't outweigh the reward on no canoe, man. You're not about to be in
Right.
no. It's just imagine if a big storm hit. Like, I
And
mean,
then
you
without the adding of a sail to where you can control by the wind where you're going, that current is controlling you unless you got that manpower. So, you know, it's too hard of an argument to say 100% that this happened. I think it's best for people to just leave it alone and study what we can and try to put the puzzle back together. Like, I'm at the point where I don't even think we should call it the Colombian exchange anymore. We should call it the African exchange. Because look at how much was brought over here that we don't give credit to our own selves for. You know what I mean? Wasn't no damn cows here. Wasn't no pigs here. Wasn't a lot of the things that we take for granted that we can make arguments is, I mean, hell, look at rice and how big rice is. That wasn't here. We got arguments to put ourselves back on the world stage, but we're using the wrong ones.
Right. Yeah, man. I forgot what he was just touching on the end. At the end.
yeah, he was just basically tying the story together with the OMAC saying the international trade was going on.
Right.
Yeah, that's too much because can't nobody prove that they had the technology to go there and come back.
They got there. I mean, y'all want to keep watching this one right here about cocaine. It's about mummies, cocaine, and more.
It's already got beat up, but y'all can do it.
Yeah, y'all want it?
The only thing about that is just right off the flop is who was making powder cocaine way back then?
Well, it wasn't the powder. It was the leaf form. You know what I'm saying? It was in the leaf. Like they didn't process it how it's processed today.
On a mummy in Egypt or a mummy here?
The mummy. I believe they talking about. I mean, I've watched this, but I can't remember what they were saying. But they did have that leaf in Tikal, I believe his name was one of the Aztec leaders.
I do know that they did wrap bodies over here, and it helped preserve the bodies. They wasn't necessarily doing mummification the way Kemet was, because a lot of those remains was the results of cannibalism. Then they wrapped the body up and stuffed it with leaves again, and that helped preserve them. They wasn't necessarily making mummies the way Egypt did, and I think it's fair to try to make it a synonymous ordeal to where they was doing the exact same thing because it's different. They wasn't necessarily making it.
Let's see what he said.
There was a documentary that came out in the early 90s. You're going to love the name of this one. It was called The Curse of the Cocaine Mummies. And in The Curse of the Cocaine Mummies, this documentary talked about how, for some reason, scientists were finding cocaine in the hair shafts of mummies. Now, they also found tobacco. You may know that in forensics, when people are testing, if a pathologist is testing to see if someone's been poisoned, they'll take hair samples because essentially anything that you ingest to eat will come out in the hair or to anything, or much of it, in terms of the chemical compounds or components. So they took samples of these different mummies. The person who did it was a woman named Dr. Balabanova, who I think she is a French scientist, although her name, obviously, Balabanova is not French, but she, in France, and she did this research looking at these mummies and was wondering why she was finding cocaine in mummies since there is no cocaine in Egypt. In fact, there's no cocaine known to grow in Africa. Certainly not at that time. You're talking about 3,000 years ago and longer. You're talking about 2,500 years ago, etc. She took a sampling of different mummies to find that these mummies, obviously when alive, had ingested coca, the coca leaf. They also found high rates of tobacco, not African tobacco, American tobacco. So this automatically meant, so how are these people getting this? They got it because they were in trade. Nile Valley civilization was in trade with different indigenous peoples in the Americas. But the beauty of it, again, to make the point about the connection to Moorish science, no other mainstream organization of African Americans was discussing that. None. So the Moorish Science Temple is the only organization that has this as part of the official literature in the 1920s. Right? So the work that von Futenau was discussing, von Futenau doesn't put his work out until later. Von Futenau's earliest publications with regard to this, I think, are in the 60s and 70s. Leo Wiener, who was at Harvard, did talk about this in the 1920s, but it wasn't mainstream. It was just this lone Harvard scholar who's saying there was a connection between the Africans and the Americas before Columbus. Barry Fell is not writing about this until the 1970s, and others that are out there. Noble Drew Ali is putting this information out about the pre-Columbian African presence in the freaking 1920s. Come on, right? And the man doesn't get any credit. This is what is insane. Afrocentric scholars should be, in my estimation, really honoring this brother. Even if they're not a part of the movement. Say, look, I may not be part of the movement for whatever reason, but I'm here to tell you, this brother was the real deal as far as how did he know this? And not.
All right, so what y'all think, man? Is he reaching or is he teaching?
Suchek said he got to make a run. I think it's one of those moments of the mix between the two. What Unc call them? The pseudo sophisticated pseudos, something.
Yeah.
Where they take a little bit of some facts and a little bit of make believe and blend it into an awesome ass sandwich until you eat it. Yeah. Yep. I think that's what the problem is with that, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. It's a YouTube page called Oxum. It's actually the same way Zane typed it in. That's what made me go to it, because I was like, yeah, I done watched a couple of these videos on here where they try to tie stuff together, and I didn't agree with it. One of them was the Moorish Olmecs heads, and I was like, okay, we talking about that. I can pull that up real quick. But yeah, I think I was just sharing.
I don't see why. What gets me stuck is I can understand you wanting to be from where you at. I can understand you not wanting to leave from where you at. Well, I don't understand what their whole argument is. Why would you put the Americas on a pedestal as if you couldn't be from Africa? Like, we only from America. We ain't from Africa. I don't know where they get that line of thinking from.
Right.
I don't. That's the part that confuses me. It's not so much that they making that claim, it's the desire behind it. What is making you want to do it?
I don't get it.
I'm sorry. I'd rather have elephant in my backyard than deer and raccoons.
Yeah, I just don't get that, man. Not wanting to identify. I don't get it, man. But I don't know, man. To each his own.
All right.
His own, dog. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because they reaching saying, now I do know that they was talking about it was cocaine found in one of the mummies in the Americas. I'll have to look into that cocaine mummy on the Egypt side. Cause
Y'all want an interesting name from around? Well, it's a little bit after Columbus, but it's damn near close to him. It'd be like the generation after him. Y'all want an interesting name?
shoot,
Alessandro de Medici. I
I
think.
can put it in the chat too,
Okay.
just in case somebody don't know how to spell it. Build on that. I'm about to cut this brisket up.
You got another one?
Man, listen, I got the burn it. Well, remember it's the same one, but I just cut it in half. So this the end of it. And I made some burnt ends out of it. So I'm just getting ready to unwrap it right now. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. Super moist. Oh yeah, did you put it in there, Boss?
I put it in the what do you call it? The StreamYard chat. I'm typing it into YouTube now.
Yeah. Cause I don't know who that is, so
Oh, it's just some fun to play with. Wait till y'all see what his name is. What they called him, his coin name. Just to play with people. But there's things in this if you get to unpack and you get to find more parts of the story people don't talk about. Who was Christopher Columbus bouncing back and forth between what two nations?
right?
And who? Florence, right? For anybody that knows the story, you had to go through Florence to get on that Silk Road, didn't you? That he was. So this is who they beefing with. This is their competition. Yeah, all that starts coming into it. But long story short, it's a mixed breed brother. His name is Alessandro, but they call him the Moor. So that's something to play with. But just look how it gets debunked. Instantly when you're going through it. Even the idea of him being a slave to Moors gets debunked. But it's important to know little things like this when you start talking about Christopher Columbus and those maps, him discovering America. Like on Christopher Columbus map, he found America by accident solely because they say America wasn't factored into the map he was using. They just didn't have that calculated right. But that leads into arguments of them saying that Europeans knew that the Americas existed because what happened? You had the Vikings that came over here, that Lance Ox Meadows up in Canada, but they didn't stay here. They went back. So there's arguments that can be made about it. There was people trying to make their way here before Columbus. They just couldn't do it. Big part is it's too damn cold the way they was going. Way too damn cold.
How was they trying to come, Boss?
Ships. They was coming by ships. They just couldn't break all that damn ice. You get what I mean? They was going too far north. And then they get almost here and turn around. Then they come back a little bit more. You get what I mean? It took time. It wasn't I got this idea and they did it the first time and the shit worked. No, it took time for them to navigate the globe. Lots of trial and error. You know what I mean? They just stayed persistent at it. And this goes into your economic wars and all that other, your religious wars. You got to factor in all that stuff. So it's deeper than just a color game when you start looking at real history, is what I'm trying to lead to. You start playing that color game, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Now, what do you mean by it leads to war? Like, what type of stuff?
Well, your economic wars, the modes of production. For example, capitalism is birthed after Columbus, hypothetically. You get where I'm going? That creates wars. Now you got the big war between capitalists and communists, and modes of production and economics and nations and all that up. Look at what happened when they found this place. You got Spain battling it out with who was Spain? With Florence and the rest of the world. Then Britain comes in, then they all battling. Then Britain starts battling its own damn self. That's understanding those aspects of war, not war as in, what they coined war, but understanding the histories of wars across the world. Even China, China's history starts with war. They call it the Warring State period.
Man, listen, China, I looked into China's history, dog. Like, that's all they did was war with each other.
Right. Yeah, especially in Confucius' time. That's what made him so dynamic, was he was such a philosophical thinker in the midst of war. Because wasn't nobody rocking with him in his time. They didn't start messing with him until afterwards, like all great minds.
Yeah, Chinese was definitely that's definitely a warring state. They got the name right on that.
Yeah. Who you got? Xin Guangdi, their first emperor. All about war. He was on his pseudo stuff too. He thought, what is it? Mercury, liquid mercury. He thought that was the elixir to immortality.
Yeah, I did think that.
Yeah. Have y'all ever seen his funeral, his burial remains? Not remains, but his burial grounds. And that shit. Oh.
Yeah, it's like built in a mound, ain't it?
Yeah, and then it reflects the cosmos with that mercury and all that. Man, that shit is nice.
Yeah, he definitely went down good. Hey man, when I tell you I did my thing with this brisket, dog.
We hear you over there licking your fingers, being selfish.
I'm telling you. I'm dicing it up.
And it's brisket season too, because it's starting to cool out a little bit to where you can eat a hot meal. Oh man.
I'm dicing it up right now. I'm about to sauce it and let it get back right. Yes, sir. Might open me a barbecue joint.
I heard that.
But yeah,
I bought my son some chicken for his birthday.
Some what?
Some chicken. Y'all don't hear him?
Oh, I did see that on your Facebook, yo.
Yeah, this little boy love him.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I did see them on your Facebook. Y'all gonna eat them?
Well, if things get tough, I'll make me some chicken nuggets. They'll get over.
Hey man, send them up here. I'll smoke them.
It's not done yet, bro. You gotta wait.
I'll smoke them bad boys, boss.
I hear you.
Send them on up here to the Satet. Yeah, man. I guess we've been on 2 hours, man. We can kill it for real.
Yeah, I wonder if Sutek came back. Man, I've been on the gas the past couple of days. I just now got back home today and messed around and crashed out. Sat on the couch this morning and passed smooth out. I figured I did a underground show without me.
I know, man. We was looking for you.
Yeah, I got to catch back up. It's been a busy past couple of days.
I was telling him, I'm like, I wanted to hear what you was going to come with because I know you was going to play some stuff I ain't never heard.
You better believe it.
I already knew it. So I'm like, I'm trying to see what Sutek coming with.
I like doing that though. If y'all haven't caught on, I'm gonna bring the people nobody talk about. I just feel like we should do that for one another.
You know it. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast.
All right, you can do it.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.